So good evening, everyone. I'm happy that you are with us tonight. My name is Ronen. I'm Sailing Around's owner. Sailing Around is a charter company and much more than that. We appreciate very much knowledge, professional knowledge, and we invest a lot in knowledge. Sailing Around started in Greece a few years ago. She was a Greek company, but starting several years ago, we moved to London, and now she is based in London. But our heart stayed in Greece, and we have trusted partners in Greece, and our most beloved trusted partner is Yanis. And
Thank you. Same feelings here.
Yanis will share with us his knowledge and a few captain's tips tonight,
Yeah,
right?
of
I will
course.
share with you now a few details in the chat, and I think it's about time we start, Yanis.
Fantastic. Okay, so a big welcome from me as well. I think that's the right time to say hello to everybody. But first of all, I would like to thank Ronan and Sailing Around for having me back here for one more episode. I think it's been like 1 year since the last episode we did, and I'm very excited to be back. And thank you, Ronan, for giving me the opportunity to share whatever I feel like I have to share. Yes, some tips, some insights regarding chartering in Greece. A few words about me. I am a professional skipper here in Greece, working mainly during the summer season, of course. When I'm not working as a professional as a skipper, I am into the repair and servicing section, repairing boats, maintenance, doing all this sort of stuff. And of course, I'm doing boat deliveries domestically and internationally. Today's episode is, I think, the fourth of the series that we started with Ronan and Sailing Around. And the title is pretty simple: Chartering Some Pro Tips. Life-saving tips for fellow seafarers. Maybe I'm exaggerating a bit. It's not. I don't know if it is life-saving. Sometimes it proves to be life-saving. It's definitely time and money-saving tips for our fellow seafarers, our fellow sailors and captains. And before we get into the episode, just a brief outline of what is about to be the desired outcomes of today's episode. Okay. I would like to talk to you about a few things that, as a professional skipper, and I have to stress this out right now. What actually signifies, let's say, a professional skipper from a seasonal charter is the fact that we do actually the same thing, but we do it so many times, okay, in a row, that we experience things again and again and again and again. And as in every kind of industry and every kind of job, this is what actually is one of the fundamental things that build experience. Okay, so I'm going to share my experience from my own, like let's say my own point of view. And I have to also stress out that whatever tips I'm going to include here are things that are being addressed to everybody, no matter how experienced you are or not experienced. Okay, if you are a professional, if you are an enthusiast, seasonal charterer, as I said, this is for everybody because for me, I think that most of the times, the most silly and crazy things and mistakes tend to happen from the more experienced sailors, and I'm including myself, of course, and other professional skippers as well. So it's good from time to time to go back to the basics and review some stuff. This is actually, in essence, let's say, the background of today's episode and what I had in mind when I was designing that. So we have to actually start from getting to know how to do a proper check-in the right and safe way, and often overlooked part of our chartering experience, which most of the times is going to determine whether or not we're going to have a smooth sailing experience. And I'm going to get into that more later. We're going to learn how to deal with common issues that take place in the marinas. Briefly talk about some mooring strategies that I find very, very, very useful. I'm going to give you some information about local authorities, what to expect, what not to expect from the local authorities, and some common incidents that I tend to see again and again happening. Hopefully, with some tips we're going to share here, we're going to improve the anchorage skills, especially when we visit anchorages. Going back to the basics, as I said, when it comes to sailing, in order to enjoy our overall sailing experience, okay? I'm gonna tell you a few things also about the weather and how to read it more efficiently, okay? And I'm going also to share in the end some tips for a hassle-free and fast checkout procedure. Same thing as the check-in, but in reverse motion, let's say, okay? So let's begin. Part one, the check-in procedure. I have a very, very interesting title, but it wasn't there before, okay? This is something that we tend to hear every time a chartering trip comes to an end. It wasn't there before, but chances are it was there before, but you didn't, or we didn't see it. What I'm trying to say here is that the check-in procedure is very, very, very important, because during this procedure, you make sure that you leave the marina with a fully equipped boat, and you know exactly what you're taking with you out there in the sea. It's going to save you time, it's going to save you money, maybe, but for the most part, it's going to make sure, if you do this check-in procedure correctly, that you're leaving the marina with all the necessary and not only the necessary things. In another way, you're just making sure that what you paid for, okay, is on the boat and you're going out there safe and sound. Right, so the first thing that you have to do, and I'm quite sure that most of you know about that, is make a thorough inspection of the boat. I'm talking about the interior and the exterior, sorry, and the interior as well. Look for chips, scratches on the gel coat, especially at the corners of the boats or the swimming platforms, okay, where they're more vulnerable, let's say. Check the railings, okay? A loose railing can be very, very, very common thing, okay, to experience, but it's also a very not good thing for safety, right? Check the bimini top, the spray hood, all right? You have to make sure that all the fabric is okay, no damages over there. These are things that are very, very sensitive and tend to be overworn by previous charterers. So you don't want to be the one who's going to pay for the mistakes of the previous ones. And trust me, you know very well that these are boats chartered for the whole season. The season here is at least 16 to 20 weeks. That means that these boats are always out there experiencing some bad weather sometimes, or some bad charter sometimes, or some, people are out on holiday. They cannot just pay attention all the time to all the details, okay? But you don't have to be the ones who are going to compensate for everything. Check for the gangway, especially if it's an electrical one. They tend to fail sometimes. And of course, if you run out of a gangway, you run out of methods and ways to get out to the islands that you're going to visit, right? And of course, the bumpers, the fenders, make sure they're plenty enough and they're in good condition, inflated, and everything is correct. The instruments, the navigation instruments, whatever electrical instrument is inside the boat, it has to work properly. If you think that the screens are faded or the maps are outdated, you have to refer that. I'm gonna say a few things to whom you are referring things and when and why, okay, later on. The windlass. These are actually the parts of the boat that tend to be more used and stressed. The windlass, the chain, the anchor, very important. This is your brake, right? This is the brake of the boat. It has to work correctly. And we see many times that things may fail. Ropes, make sure they bend correctly, okay? And of course, if you have time, this is something that I always urge my friends and people that I know that are chartering boats to do. By the time you get out in the marina, even if the air is light, which is actually more preferable, just open the sails to immediately inspect if there is anything going wrong with them, because the closer you are in the marina, the more chances you have that you're going to have your sails repaired in case there is something serious happening with them, of course, right? Inside the boat, loose door handles and faulty lights, the most common problems inside the boat. All right. And of course, make sure that the accessories that may sound not very, very important to you, like the curtains and the blinds, but they're going to be very, very important if you want to get some good quality sleep, that everything is working correctly. Use your camera. Everybody nowadays is equipped with a cell phone with a good camera with a good analysis. Okay, so use your camera to film the boat and have evidence of whatever is happening at the time that you're filming it. I'm not talking about exaggerating things or getting things like to the extreme, but these are things that people often overlook. And when they get back to the marina, there are some misunderstandings that take place. Nobody really wants to do something like to experience something like that. And in at this very moment, I have to say that these boats are provided to you by boat operators. They have their boats in the marinas and the bases. There are people working, trying to prepare them. But you can understand that when you have like 25 boats to deliver from Friday night to Saturday afternoon, we are human beings. People there are human beings as well. Something may slip out of their attention. It's this moment when we get in between the boat and the personnel, and we try to kind of fix things a little bit for our own sake, right? Inventory list. The inventory list, most of the times, the boat operator companies provide you with a printed inventory list, and you can use a simple pen and the inventory list and make sure that everything that is written there is included in the boat. Of course, life jackets and life-saving equipment. I mean, this is the first, but you have to pay attention where they are, okay? I think that this is pretty much standard for everybody. Maps, Waters Pilot books, we may have all these super fantastic and updated applications nowadays, but it's always good to have this kind of old school. Maybe I sound too old-fashioned here, but they have very, very useful information that sometimes they prove to be more accessible compared to the applications. And you know what? If anything else fails, we still have the sails and the books and the charters and the maps, right? Cabin and bed related accessories. I've seen this happening too many times. People leave the marina, but they don't have enough bed linen and stuff. And this is not going to provide for a very, very comfortable sleep. Tools, often overlooked. Make sure you have some basic tools. If they don't provide you with some, ask the people in the marina, hey, come on, just give me a screwdriver or a hammer or something for basic fixes. Always they are very useful. Kitchenware and tableware. This is where the enough wine glasses for the crew goes for, right? Kitchenware and tableware. Make sure you have enough wine glasses for everybody. Check your gas cylinder. Most of the boats are equipped with two. Sometimes, most of the times, both these gas cylinders are full, but you never know if you're going to run out of gas. I don't know if you have a chef on board. This is definitely something that you have to look for. Boat papers and charter party papers. Make sure you know where your papers are. Of course, your broker, for example, Ronan here is going to take super good care of all the paperwork and everything. But the end user is you. So make sure you have all the necessary papers. And of course, you know what you are signing for. Okay. Now, in case you find something happening or missing or something is not looking really good, immediately call the office or everyone or anyone who might be in charge. And talking about calling and communicating, this is the right time to talk to you about the absolute necessary phones that you have to always carry with you. If this phone number list is not printed already inside the boat, ask for the following numbers. You have to know the base manager number, okay? This is the guy who's the chief. He's in charge of all the boats. He's the guy running all the necessary activities prior and after a trip and a charter, okay? He's the guy who knows who has to communicate with in case you have an electrical problem, if you have a mechanical problem, or if you have any kind of problem. Base managers tend to know a lot of people in the islands or in the places you're going to visit. So this guy is a good resource of contacts, okay? Sometimes in bigger boat operator companies, there is also a specialized technician, chief technician of the base. So if there is a guy like that over there, you just take his phone number and never phone the base manager for technical problems, okay? You call this guy. If not, you just call the base manager. It's always good to know the numbers of the Hellenic Coast Guard and more specifically, the local numbers. I mean, the Hellenic coast of the island of Syros or the island of Santorini, provided that's going to be still there in the summer, right? Okay. Why? Because the Coast Guard is always very, very, very useful and helpful, not only in the case of an emergency, but as a provider for information as well. Okay, is the regulator of the Greek waters. So it's good to know beforehand what are the numbers. And of course, I'm quite sure everybody is planning an itinerary, is designing an itinerary. You know where you're going to, which places you're going to visit. So why not have all these numbers handy? Now, another kind of institution that operates in the Greek ports, marinas, okay, it's more like ports rather than marinas, most of them, is something that is translated into local municipal port organizations. In Greek is simpler, we call it limeniko tamio, and it literally...
Much simpler.
it's just two words, right? It's two words, and it literally means the guys who are in charge of collecting the fees. Okay? It's not a part or a branch of the Hellenic Coast Guard. It's a branch of the local municipalities, okay? This is why local municipal port organization is the official name. These are the people who are going to provide you with the necessary power and the necessary water in case you find a place in a Greek port, okay? And they're going to collect the fees for the night and provide you with all the necessary information. And of course, know the VHF channels of the places that you are visiting. It may sound old school like the Greek waters pilot, but it's always up to date. The VHF is the safest method to communicate in case you need it, okay? So very, very, very essential contact list. Keep this information and make sure you have these numbers always available and handy, okay? Now, part two, the marina drama. Okay, Ronan, I think when we first, I first showed you this presentation, I told you, and I'm going to share it with our participants. Is this too much of a picture? Is this too drama? Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's so depressing.
I'm not trying to provoke any feelings. No. I just want to play with you. Anyway, marina drama is the second part of our today's episode. And it's one of, it may become very dramatic, but most of the times, of course, everybody knows that after all this action just goes off and down, everybody is relaxed. But during the time of happening, sometimes it's very amusing as well, right? You just take a cold beer, some popcorn, and you see everyone fighting everybody. Okay, I'm kidding. Now, let's start with some basic stuff. Okay, there are some certain things that we have to take into consideration when we enter a marina. And let's begin with a nice video of how not to enter a marina, and I'm going to elaborate on that. All right. Not quite the kind of approach that we would like to show here, but serves as a nice example of what not to do. Okay. This happened this season, and it went viral on the social media. Happened this season on the island of Aegina, a very beautiful island with two fantastic marinas that you can park your boat. Aegina Island, which is located in the Saronic Gulf, close to Athens, a different area from the Cyclades, of course, and still a very, very, very beautiful area to sail around. Now, very, very basic stuff here. When we approach a marina, especially one that we don't know, even if we are the most experienced sailors, and it feels like we really get this, chances are that we don't. If we feel like we don't have it, it's certain that we don't have it. What I'm trying to say here is that being too confident is the same thing with having no confidence at all. We are always always have to be very, very, very careful. Unknown waters for the newcomers, okay? There are a few things that I'm going to talk about, especially regarding the neighbors and the voices and all the screaming and stuff. But before that, we have to make sure that we're not taking anything for granted, no matter how experienced we are. And of course, we do everything as low as the wind at the time allows us to do it. Because if we enter a marina, everybody knows that, and it's too windy, we have another very, very, very serious factor to consider. Okay, so in order to make sure that in the end of the day we're just going to be enjoying our cold beers, wine, dinner, or whatever, let's talk about some very common scenarios. When it's too tight, this is a real picture from the island of Spetses. You can see all these boats stacked here, taken from a friend of mine. I think that my catamaran is either in this lane or I don't even remember. So the guy just took the picture with his drone, shared it with me. He was like, I'm not quite sure if the land of Spetses is going to be holding for the next seasons if you keep doing this thing, right? Too much effort put on the island. When it's too tight, my first rule of thumb, okay, is search for a different place. Okay, I know you wanted to go to this island this evening, and you were really planning for doing so, and you cannot miss it, and it's just these things don't happen every day, and blah blah blah. Okay, I understand everything. There are always alternatives, and anchorage near the port. Then you can utilize the dinghy, right? Or just change the plans for the night, go to a safe anchorage and enjoy the night below the fantastic, beautiful stars of the fantastic Mediterranean Greek summer sky at the night, right? But if you decide not to go for a different place, give yourself enough time to evaluate the space and go slow. I've seen too many people approaching too fast. Most of them are experienced captains that they feel like they really do have it. And you know what? Chances are they do. But why not go slow and avoid some, let's say, unpredicted thing that may happen? It's all about having fun, right? In the end of the day, enjoying your time out in the sea, enjoying your time in the island. Go slow, and everybody's going to be super happy, smiling, and of course, you're going to avoid these neighbors that by the time they're going to see you accelerate, of course, everybody becomes the captain of the world and starts shouting and blah, 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 and all this marina drama I was talking about. Attempt as many times as it takes for the perfect mooring. It's not a shame. Some older captains I experienced, they're like, you have to do it with just one try. Are you kidding me? Not even, I don't know, Rolling Stones just did it with one take. They recorded again and again or anyway, they were super talented. Maybe it's a wrong example. Okay, this is my background as a musician now. Anyway, make sure you make the perfect mooring, even if it takes 2 or 3 times to approach. I'm quite sure that someone's going to be in the marina. I mean, professional skippers, we always run to help other guys, right? So he's going to be waiting for you to complete your mooring and everything. The perfect mooring, okay, perfect is a bit exaggerating, but what I'm trying to tell you here, to actually stress out here, is that it has to be perfect in the way that you are super certain that you have the correct amount of anchor down there, okay, and you have your lines to the shore correctly put, and everything is going to guarantee for a fantastic and careless night on a beautiful Greek island. Otherwise, no reason to just go out for your dinner and keep thinking, do I have enough chain down there? Is it holding? What if a bigger boat passes? Or what if a breeze attacks? It's always about having fun. So if we want to have fun, we have to make sure there is a good and tight boat over there. And of course, ask for help from the surrounding boats. One thing I like doing when I approach, okay, it may sound like a cowboy sometimes, but I do this to gain the attraction of the surrounding boats. This way, not only I'm just making sure I'm going to have help for my mooring maneuver, but I'm also giving the other boats their rightful chance to defend their boats in case I do something wrong, right? In the end, they're going to appreciate you. If they don't help you, I'm not going to go further into that. This has happened a lot to me. It's not a very good practice of very good seamanship. This is the only thing I'm going to say. But anyway, always ask for help. It's good, right? Now, if it's too open, most mistakes I've seen happening is when we have so much space. Sometimes people, human beings, need borders. You know, they need margins. You name it. And when you don't really know how to make the most out of it. And I've seen too many wrong things happening. For the first, take your time. Nothing to stress about. You have enough space to think about it. Okay, don't just spend all the whole day thinking or designing your maneuver. But anyway, take your time, okay, and try to be how do we say that? Polite for the next boats that are going to come, which means don't just go and drop the anchor like, okay, we have space, just drop it, gonna hold somewhere, and then slowly go all the way to the back. No, pick a spot right next to a boat. Sometimes some very not, let's say, good willing neighbors are going to go like, you have so much space and you just came onto my boat. Yes, because we are not alone out here, okay? Not to mention that using a boat as a margin is going to correct your maneuver. So drop your anchor correctly, pick a spot right next to a boat, which, especially if it's windy, for sure you're going to have a first thing to hold on to, okay? Or just to push a little bit. This is why we have fenders, okay? And please, in Greece and in Mediterranean in general, avoid longside mooring. In Greece, in most of the places, is prohibited. And it makes sense that too many boats and too much space wasted if everybody goes alongside, right? In some special and certain cases, there are some harbor masters who actually are responsible for stacking up the boats like alongside, but it's their job to do so, and you will know about it before arriving to the marina. Always ask the locals. If you find professional skippers, always try to derive information from them, of course. And of course, you have all the applications like Navily or Navionics, full of this sort of information. Now, anchor crossing, happy neighbors. What if everything goes wrong? One of my favorite ones. So apparently this guy over here has totally lost control of his boat. He's trying to moor, but he's actually trying to achieve the impossible. He's in between two boats with the full of his boat length, and he's doing all the wrong maneuvers. It gets better and better. He just got some help with a rope, with the back line, but not really using it efficiently. And in the end, he is really smashing everything. Why I'm using this video, not to scare anybody, but to just let you know about some very, very, very useful things. This boat, Kontiki, is fantastic Jeannot, which I had the chance, and I was lucky enough to deliver it for my friend, on behalf of a friend of mine who actually is the boat owner. I did that delivery, I think last year, yes. Anyway, fantastic boat, beautiful boat. So I had some inside information from the boat owner who told me that this captain, this video went viral in Greece, and it served as a very, very useful instructional video of what not to do in the Greek sailing schools, right? So this guy had been a charterer, a constant charterer of the same boat for many seasons in a row. That means that he knew the boat. He was experienced. So what happened to him over there? What happened is called panic. and it may happen to everybody. I'm trying to say here that in case something goes all the way down wrong, okay, relax. Give yourself a few minutes, and this, if not any other moment, is the right one to start listening to the rest of the people. Of course, I know that too many noises create too many tension and too many stress, right? And too much stress. But I think that this is the right time that you will start, you have to start listening to your crew. Always have a prepared crew. I'm going to get into that in the next slide. And to the people who are really most probably most aware of the situation compared to you. It has happened to me as well. Uh, Thankfully, it didn't involve this kind of, of panic here, but it can happen to everybody. This is from Ermioni, a fantastic place in Peloponnese, a very nice and beautiful small fisher town, okay, with amazing tavernas, very, very nice food. Sometimes it gets this breeze that is coming, getting the sea, the water all the way into the port. And this is something that can happen very, very regularly. So instead of dealing with that, we're going to say a few things about how to deal with situations like this, because it is all in the end about getting off the boat and going to the taverns, right? If I'm not mistaken. So a few rules that I consider golden ones in the marina. The importance of psychology. Don't panic. But even if you do panic, I repeat, you just take for a few seconds, 2 seconds. It's not going to be the end of the world. Just 2 seconds. Immediately try to relax. And instead of doing things that are going to get things worse, relax. Don't push your throttle and start maneuvering your boat with the assistance of the other boats, and listen to the people who have a better view and vision of what is happening. When to listen, when not to listen to the neighbors. It's very obvious. You've been in life before. It's not the first day you arrived on this planet, so you can actually know who is the good guy and who is the bad guy. The bad guys are the ones that they don't want you to touch their boat, not even with the fenders and the bumpers. They're not going to help you with the mooring. They're going to be always complaining about you're too close, you're too fast, you are too of something, I don't know what. But also there are people who are going to address to you, especially the skippers, the pro ones. We are always approaching, and when we see something like that happening, we're like shouting, I'm a pro, relax, I'm here, we're going to do this together. So in the end, you're going to be mooring your boat nice, efficiently, and safely. Always try to be patient and understanding, especially with the neighbors that I mentioned before, the bad ones, all right? The ones who are always looking for a fight. Now, sometimes you may experience an anchor crossing, which means that your anchor may be crossed by another boat. Most probably, he didn't want to do that, okay? And in busy ports, this happens, I mean, all the time. It's too much drama for something that is so regularly happening, okay? If your anchor is crossed, cooperate. Most probably, you're going to ask for the guy to leave as early as possible, and then he's going to take his anchor, and nobody is going to, he's going to leave the marina without even a scratch. If you have crossed an anchor, chances are that the neighbor is going to be super mad because you're just ruining his holiday in all these scenarios and stuff. Keep it calm, keep it low. Promise him that tomorrow morning you're the one who's going to leave as early as he wants, okay? Even 5:30 in the morning. Chances are not even him is going to be awake by that time. But it's okay. Just give him a number. Okay, a time, right? It's always nice to give them an as early as possible time. Now, have a well-prepared crew with assigned roles. This is super important. Even if you don't have all these super experienced people on the boat, it's very important to have at least two. For me, it's ideally it's 3 people. 1 at the anchor, 2 back at the ropes, okay? Make sure you have prior to your trip, agreed upon all the, how do we say that? The gestures and the things you're going to say in the orders, okay? What this means, what this means, what this means, what this means. You just have to invent or use your own code, which is going to be straightforward and understandable under any circumstances. Not to mention that part of the fun is having people feeling as they are part of the whole experience. Okay, now a funny story that happened this year was a married couple, a very sensitive subject. Okay, the guy was steering, the woman was in the front, in charge of the anchor. They had this microphone and all this sort of stuff, and they were still shouting to each other. Okay, the volume was just maximizing through the speakers and everything. Okay, so you don't have to stress anyone. Respect the rest of the crew. Have them well prepared. Have them knowing exactly what's the plan. Okay, and always have a plan B for which they have to be super prepared.
I was just say that every time I raise my voice,
Yeah,
I know that it is my fault as a
exactly.
skipper.
That's that. Of course, when the captain is actually raising the voice, most probably he's the only one, the most wrong person upon the face of the
Of
world.
course.
Now, very important. I demand this from every time from my clients. I know they are here for holidays. I know that they're having a nice time. But when I'm mooring, and even when I'm hoisting the anchor during departure, I request absolute silence and nobody's moving on the deck. This will make not only the captain's life, but the crew that is involved at the time, the life of these people is going to be easier. And everything is going to be made on a more efficient way. Okay? No movement and silence, because everybody has to hear everybody. Everyone has to be able to hear everyone, see everyone, whatever I was mentioning before, right? Nice idea to contact the local authorities before entering, ask for the weather conditions, ask for, most probably for space or not space, if there is available space, sorry. And always useful information with these guys. What to expect and not to expect from Greek ports, very, very, very fast, very simple. Not all the marinas have electricity or water. Some may have water, but not electricity, or electricity, but not water or whatever. So be well prepared for scenarios like that, and make sure you use efficiently the water tanks, your power. Be gentle with your batteries and everything. Navily and avionics is full of information regarding the marinas. Again, ask the locals. I'm going there. Do you know what's happening there? Do you know if I'm going to have electricity provided? What's happening around this time of the day? Blah, blah, blah. All this sort of information. You can just go out, chat with people. In Greece, we have a very nice reputation regarding hospitality, and we, most of us, not all of us, of course, okay, but most of us like helping and providing information. Use your social skills, okay, guys? The anchorage, a very, 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 not misleading. How do we say that? It's something that sometimes most people take it like for an easier case, but it's not an easy case, because you may have more space compared to a marina, but sometimes this more space may become too less of a space, okay? Which means that when we are approaching an anchorage, we have to determine where to drop the anchor. The anchorages during summertime in Greece may get as busy as the ports. It's always better to start early, okay? Don't tell the others because everybody's gonna be starting early. But it's always better to start early, okay? The anchorages can be super busy, and I've seen sometimes things that happen over there that are quite, like disappointing. People who have the whole sea in front of them, and for some reason they're going and dropping the anchor in between two boats just to make some to create some trouble over there. I don't know why they're doing that. Speaking, I don't know. You're supposed to go over there and relax and like dive into the water, drink your cocktails, not the captain, eat some good food, right? Why make yourself harder? Don't be one of these guys who just find this tiny space of water. I'm gonna, I think my boat can go and like fit in over there. No, just go to the other side. This is a picture from a very, very popular anchorage in Moni Island, which is across Aegina. Amazing waters, as you can see. This is why it attracts so many people. I've seen so many. I think I've seen here more anchors crossing compared to a port, the port of Aegina. Okay, it's very funny sometimes. Just make sure that the place you're dropping the anchor is the right one, which means you have enough space to drop enough anchor. There is the 357 rule, which means 3 times the depth that we are dropping if the air is super light. 5 times the depth we are dropping if we have a medium wind, and 7 if the wind is super strong. I always let some more chain down there. It's free and it's always going to be it's going to prove safer. Okay, but that means that you have to be sure to make sure that the space over there is enough for this a bit more anchor. If it's not, don't take the chances. Go to the other side. Find another anchorage. You're visiting a place, a country and an archipelagos, which is full of places. Don't waste your day trying to do something that is just going to occupy time from your vacation. You're here for vacation and to have fun, okay? And trust me, the climate here is absolutely beautiful during summertime, and the sea is amazing to spare time into this kind of thing, right? Now, make sure that you leave the anchorage safely. Most of the times you drop an anchor somewhere and by afternoon time, it's full of boats, so it's going to be more demanding in terms of maneuvering the boat. Last season, I was with a 46 catamaran, nice lagoon, and there was this fantastic skipper who just hoisted the anchor, and for some reason, due to the fact that, despite of the fact we had like so much space around us, it just crashed my boat. It can happen as well, okay? So take your time and enjoy the summer, not anything else, all right? Now, another very common thing that we do here, and of course throughout the Mediterranean and not only throughout the world, is stern to the rocks. I've seen this maneuver happening most of the times in a way that it's not very safe. I'm sure that Ronan and his amazing and full of valuable information section he has a section in his website, okay, a blog especially for the prospective captains, full of information and instructions on how to do certain things correctly. It's a valuable resource of information for things like that. Common mistakes and all this sort of stuff. Make sure you visit the site of Sailing Around. All the information is there. A few words now about these stern to rock things. Pick the spot, approach with the stern of the boat, the spot, make sure it's the right one, no underwater, rocks are going to be most probably dangerous for your rudders or everything. And then by the time you pick the spot, the second thing you have to do is address to somebody to do the Rambo thing, which means take the stern line with him and go all the way to the rocks. Prepare the line like the big yachts and the mega yachts are doing. Prepare the line, loop it around a safe rock, and then you go all the way to the front, you drop the anchor, more chain than usual, as I over here, right? More chain than usual, and very, 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 very slowly, always in relation to the wind, go back and pick from the swimming guy the mooring line. This is the safest way to do that. Instead of just dropping the anchor, approaching the rocks, not knowing what is happening on the shallow waters near the rocks, not knowing if the swimmer is going to need, how much time he's going to need or she's going to need to reach the rocks and finish the rope work and everything. And by that time, you may find your boat going all the way to the other side because you have a side wind that just puts your boat and everyone is in panic. Okay, the lines first, slowly, gently, and very, very, very carefully. And for me, after finishing this maneuver, you have just created, as you can see on the back of this catamaran, your personal and super exclusive swimming pool in fantastic waters, and spend a fantastic evening and night over there an experience that everybody has to live, right? I think Ronen.
As you said, and we have the guidelines step by step in our professional sailors page.
So, part 4, approaching the end of our episode, not the last one, but it's the 4th part, and it's sailing smart. A few basic things. I'm quite sure that everyone here knows his sailing and knows his techniques or hair techniques, and I'm quite sure that we don't have to talk a lot about it, but just let me remind you a few things that we tend to forget. Reefing and how important is to reef. Okay, guys, we're not out here racing. We're just doing yachting. It's two different things. You don't have to overstress your boats. You don't actually know in what exact conditions these boats are in. Meaning that, of course, all the companies here are paying enough attention and money and time during winter time to the wintering of the boats and the maintenance and everything. I've been there doing this sort of stuff, so I know it from the inside. But you can never know how much stress this boat may have suffered in the previous charters. If the rigging is well tuned, if everything is in place. You don't have to play with these kind of chances, right? You just take the boat, treat it gently. Nobody's in any kind of rush. In the end of the day, everybody's going to be happy approaching his desired marina, hopefully, or or her desired anchorage. Okay. Now, things that may happen if you forget this is something like that. This is footage from my own camera, Volos Marina. I'm not quite sure what the skipper had in mind when he went all the way out to, I don't know, 30, 40 knots of wind with the full sail up or whatever. This is another very, very Valar Santorini. There you go. Santorini Trios. Everything starts fine. A bit breezy, a bit. Okay, but they've already let almost all the Genoa out, sorry, and things start to get worse because the wind force is increasing. The boat is out of control, heeling too much, everyone is in panic, already with their life suits and everything.
Anyway, to be out there in 70 knots,
yeah,
it's
I'm
crazy.
not quite sure it was 70, to be honest. Maybe it was not that much, but anyway, it may happen, right? And by the end of this video, you are going to see that the sea is crazy. You can see that, healing way too much. Congratulations to the builders of this boat, of course. And you can see that this is out of control. Hopefully, all these people arrived safely at an anchorage protected by the island. This is something that has happened to us, not exactly the same thing, but almost the same thing. When we were doing a delivery, I cannot remember for which country, which part of the leg we were at. We had a fantastic weather forecast from a very trustworthy application, and most of the applications work nicely, but you can never know with the weather. So it's always better to be on the safe side. Not to mention that, not forget actually that if you are out there alone, you don't have this feeling like the one that we have when we are racing, that if something happens to me, there are like 25 more boats around me, okay? It's going to take care of you because they're going to see what's happening, right? So always be a little more conservative. I'm not saying not to enjoy sailing. This is what it's all about, if you ask me, okay? But just to be on the safe side. Okay, I think I made it the right slide. There is a rule that goes like reef when you think about it. For me, it's never reef when you think about it. Reef in the marina. Take the forecast. Make sure that you get forecasts from different resources, okay, from different applications, and make a plan. If the weather seems that it's going to be allowing you to go out with, let's say, full sail, take Reef One. Why not? Better be prepared. If you go out there and like starts feeling that the conditions are going to be stable, let the whole thing up, okay? But just start one step below, let's say, from what you can actually do. This way, you're going to get to know your boat better and kind of test its how do we say that, capabilities, if I'm allowed to use this word. And you're going to see how it reacts, and you're going to see your crew as well. Okay, even if you've sailed with them before, every time it's different. I'm going out there like for 20 weeks in a row, but every week is different. Not to mention that sometimes the fatigue just builds up, keeps building up and building up. Okay, we're not racing, as I said. We're not racing, so there's no competition over here. To enjoy sailing, we have to do it safely, and it's fantastic when we do it safely, and it's amazing how beautiful it can become. As I mentioned before, we don't know the exact condition of the boats ringing. Even the boats that I'm taking, and which for the most part are the same boats every week, I'm not quite sure what is happening down there. Okay, it's like the cabs, the taxi cars. Okay, they're all day and all night, let's say, all the season out there working. So be gentle with them. Weather apps are good, bad. Go back to the basic meteorology course. Just refresh your knowledge regarding weather and meteorology and observe what is happening around you. It's way more useful than just relying on the fantastic, otherwise, weather apps, right? Just feel the weather, the breeze, the humidity. It's important to have this kind of skills or to develop this kind of skills, even if you're just a total beginner, a super fresh and new to this kind of thing. Always keep in mind that there are local phenomena here in Greece and in Italy, in Sicily, in France, everywhere. Each place has its own local phenomena that cannot be predicted by the weather forecast applications. For example, the Aegean has the Meltemi, these northern winds, actually winds produced in North Aegean, having a north to south direction, which may develop throughout the day, and during the night they're calm. So they're not true north winds, okay? It's a local thing happening here from July to August. You can always choose safer or not safer, easier, let's say, places. It's safe. It's always safe if you follow the basic rules. You're gonna be safe everywhere and enjoy. Even I enjoy the waves and the wind. This is what sailing is all about. Not all the customers do though. Anyway, in Ionian, for example, another local phenomenon is the westerlies and northern westerlies in the afternoon. It's like they're super, how do we say that, fixed and set up every afternoon around 4 o'clock, whatever conditions may have been taking place in the morning, you always get a breeze from the west and northwest. Very important knowledge to use it. The katabatic winds and the weather when doing coastal sailing. The closer you are in the coast, the more chances there are over there that you're going to experience katabatic winds that are actually developing from touching the mountainside and accelerating all the way to the sea. And of course, wind is fantastic. Predict wind is amazing. The local applications we have here, like the Meteo or the Poseidon, are super useful, but the fishermen and the boaters know always better. They've been doing that since day zero of their lives. Chances are that their fathers were doing that. So we always ask them, like, hey, Captain Nicholas, are you going to fish tomorrow? Yeah. Do you know anything about the weather? It feels like, by the time someone goes like, it feels like, and he uses that feel verb, feeling, right? Chances are he's going to be very accurate. All right. Now, returning to the base, the trip is coming to an end. A few useful things that are going to make the handover of the boat easier, faster, which means you just have more time to shower and go to your fantastic dinner. Prepare the boat. Prepare the boat. I've seen too many people not doing that. Prepare the boat prior to your arrival, okay? Double check the inventory. Make sure everything is there. If you just broke some glass, or I don't know, someone is missing, except if it is a person, which is very important, okay? Oh, in case you did that intentionally, I don't know. Anyway, prepare the boat and double check that everything is there. If something is missing, make sure that you have a list of things and just make them talk to the people back in the base and tell them exactly what is missing, or maybe you broke something. It's okay. These things happen all the time. It's going to actually be more time efficient for you because people there are going to be checking everything that used to be in the inventory. You don't want to have them calculating or like measuring plates. Tell them we broke 2 plates. You're in Greece. We do this all the time. Clean and tied up the interior. Okay, clean and tied up the interior, which means that except for preparing all the interior and all the rooms that are going to be checked from the people for the people who are going to do the checkout inspection, and you're going to make their life easier. One more thing that I've seen happening is that it's your personal things. You don't want anybody get inside and like getting to see your personal stuff, right? Okay, it's your stuff. Just hide your stuff. You're going to make their life easier and your handover faster, and the privacy is still going to be respected. Clean showers and toilets, okay, which is something that you have to be very careful with throughout the trip. Boat operators charge extra for toilets that have run out of order, that toilets that most certainly are going to get blocked by something that you may mistakenly drop inside. Don't do that for no reason. It's a no-no rule, okay? Or you're gonna jam everything, and this is the list of your problems. There is a lot of things that can happen from a jammed hose over there, okay? So clean them, have them ready for them to expect them, and they're gonna do this fast, and you're gonna get to your dinner, as I said, faster. Contact the base manager before entering the marina. This is the right time to phone the guy and make sure you have a spot, make sure your spot is there, waiting for you. People will be waiting for you, especially if it's windy. It's gonna be super easier for you. If you feel that you don't have it, especially if it's windy, and in the marina, especially in Alimos and Elabrion, here in Athens is super tight. Always ask for help. You can call them and have them coming out with a dinghy assisting you getting the boat inside. They will prefer and super appreciate that instead of having their boat damaged. It doesn't mean that you're not capable of doing that, but why not use this kind of service if you can, in case you think that you're tired or whatever, okay? And choose wisely the time of your return. Most of the action is taking place between 4 and 5 in the afternoon. It's okay, you're gonna sacrifice 30 minutes or 45 minutes from your last swimming stop, but you're not gonna be waiting, like, believe me, even 2 or 3 hours before your boat is checked out. I mean the technical checkout, because the checkout normally takes place the next day, and you don't want to wait that long. Of course, you're going to spend your last night in the marina, but why have to wait for such a long amount of time?
By the way, this is one of the advantages of small marinas.
Yes,
Sometimes
yes, yes, and they may be lacking some features like too many services or whatever, but for sure they are quieter and faster in all sort of means, right? Okay, enjoy your dinner is the last instruction. Plenty of food choices in Greece. And I think that this was all about it for today. The conclusion is going to be something like that. As I told you in the beginning, all the tips here are for your own, of course, safety, and for your own and maximizing your let's say your pleasure time here in Greece. Okay, not only Greece, they apply throughout the world, of course, but I'm talking on behalf of the country I'm from and I'm working in, right? So these, I think, that are some basic, very useful stuff that you should keep in mind to make your traveling here safe, efficient, and enjoyable. Okay. I wish to all of you to have, like we say, first season following wins when you come here in Greece. And I hope that all of you is going to visit Greece and charter a boat. You're very lucky because you are attending a show provided by a fantastic agency. And I'm not just saying that because I'm being hosted by Ronan and sailing around, but because I know what kind of job they're doing. And I wish to all of you a nice rest of the winter. And I am expecting you here in Greece to meet in person and sail together. Okay, guys, thank you very
Wow.
much for doing the show. Thank you, Ronan, once again for having me here and giving me the
Thank
opportunity
you.
to do things.
Thank you, Christopoli, Yanni. Thank
Bye,
you very
Παρακαλώ.
much.